Cycle Ranch for our first TCCRA race. Normally I race in Central Texas, which is Torx and TX2, but this weekend I decided I want to try a TCCRA race. It's the last race of their season. It's a beautiful property and beautiful course they've laid out here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Today the experts are racing first and then the amateurs are racing last after the minis and the ladies. I will be in the O45 Amateur class today. Hopefully I don't get my butt kicked, but these guys are pretty fast, I think. Let's go to that starting line. All right, first race of this series. Let's get a good start. And we got a decent jump, but apparently we forgot how to turn. Oh God, that was horrible. I'm on my son's bike here, but it's no excuse. I should know how to turn a dirt bike, and apparently I forgot how. But that puts me right in last place behind my friend Wyatt here, and I'm just gonna stay behind him until I find a good passing opportunity and then sneak past him. Alright, so I will throw out this disclaimer. I normally ride a 252 or a 254 stroke, and I'm on a 152 stroke here. So you will probably see me go into corners like this next corner, like a 4-stroke, without keeping the RPMs up very high. Like you normally would see somebody ride a small bore 2-stroke. Alright, but back to the race. I'm actually pretty pleased with this start here. Just hanging with the pack. So we did have to ride this course after the experts, after the minis and ladies race. So it is choppy. There are a lot of braking bumps, a lot of acceleration bumps. A few whoops. It wasn't crazy. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers by subscribing to this channel right now. I think I'm about 650 right now, and I'm trying to get to 1,000. But I tell you what, this 150, it's a 2024 Husqvarna TE 150. It's a lot of fun to ride. And I don't know what that was, but oh my God, and it gets worse. So I got the front wheel just going up that hill, up to the side bank, and then for some reason the bike wanted to turn left. I don't know what that was. I kind of get stuck behind this guy for a turn. But the only problem now is I've lost the toe here. I'm completely blew that turn. So the mistakes are compounding here, of course. But now I'm focused on getting back to that group, catching the toe again, and reestablishing myself in a position where I can go make some passes. I will have to say, this course was absolutely so much fun to ride. Like, this dirt down here was great. They were saying on Saturday practice it was hero dirt, and I'm sure it was, but I wasn't there. I rode practice from Sunday at 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Comes a fun little jump here. You have to land in the flat, which is why I didn't send it. I'll tell you what, second gear on this bike will pull, even in the really low RPMs. I wasn't really worried about having to be heavy on the clutch to keep the RPMs up. The bike pulls. And then it gets into the power band pretty quick, you can tell. Alright, so I've never ridden in North Texas before. This is the first time, and I don't know how all the terrain is up here, so I don't know if it's all sandy or nice dirt, rocky. This course is just some good black dirt, plus there's a few rocky sections. One of the rocky sections is kind of treacherous, but anyway, I thought it was a great mix. People who set up the course really gave us a variety of terrain here. I think there was like 5 or 6 hard easy splits, so we already saw one on that jump, and they just really set it up to a point where I think it was just maximum fun. So we made the trip up from Central Texas on Friday, and then I came out here on Sunday to do practice in the race, and just had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. Took me a little while to figure out how to pay, because you gotta go get a orange slip at the check-in place and then bring it down to scoring, but after I figured that out, it was fine. Alright, here comes another hard, easy split here. You gotta stick to the right. There's a guy pointing, going to the right there. Now, I didn't see this line in practice. I had stayed straight there, but, you know, he's pointing this way. I'll just take the line. I always try to keep, you know, every couple minutes I try to wipe that lens off the camera, because, you know, it gets dusty and you don't want to obscure the view for the fans. I'm kidding on that. I don't mind going over the rocks here. Alright, so we're coming up to the third hard easy split here, and I decide I'm going to pass this guy. I'm going to take the hard line. And this guy in the red right in front of me had other ideas. So he gets out of the way pretty quickly. I'm thinking, oh, I'll just send it. But no momentum. And okay, so the deal with the clutch there is my son's catch point on his clutch lever is a lot different than my catch point on my bike's clutch lever. So you hear me doing that again, it's because I'm pulling the clutch in too far. Where I should be letting out that lever. So I'm back to the same section, like what, 45 seconds later now? I'll just take the easy line. And then I passed that guy who fell on the hill. He was still down in that little creek section. Alright, this section had some off-camber turns to it and some really surprising, like right here, like see, the guys I rode with are the guys that I knew. They rode I'm just yelling at myself there, but they rode practice lap like 7 or 8 times, so they had this section pretty well memorized, where I'm just trying to sprint now because I know I'm pretty far behind, and I'm sprinting way too deep into these corners, and there's sharp turns. This one coming up is a 180 here. And they're all off camera too, so makes it tough. But through that section, once we hit mile 3, it becomes rocky for like almost the entire mile. You gotta keep the lookout for the mile 3 sign. One of the things I've been trying to work on lately is just keeping up momentum through the turns, not slowing down too much. I mean, it's kind of hard when I keep blowing the turns like that, but I swear, man, if I could just not blow the turns, I'd have a great time. This line's pretty burnt in on all the rocks, but this section, watch this guy's back wheel. Even here, like, look, it's dancing all around. Like, that's basically what it feels like with the bike underneath you. Like, you're standing in that section, you're trying to send it, and the rear wheel is just dancing. I mean, as long as the front wheel doesn't do that, I guess it's fine. Yeah, so that was a pretty clean pass from that guy. Like, he was out in the marbles where I was on the smooth pass, and then he got me pretty good. So, I don't think he was in my class, though. I'll tell you what, it is really hard to tell who is in your class out here. Like, when people are passing you or you're trying to pass other people, it is almost impossible to tell if they're in their class or not. And I think that this was tricky here. Yeah, just not enough momentum on that. I guess maybe I'm a little bit spoiled from racing in a series that has colored dots on your front plate and on the back of your helmet, so it's super easy to tell who's in your class. But on this series, there's basically a letter followed by 3 numbers on the plates. So my class was H followed by a 6, and then there's 2 other numbers that's basically the rider number, but the H of the 6 was the class number. So if you're being passed by a rider or you're chasing down another rider, you have to look for H and a 6. And then once you see that, then you know they're in the same class. But I mean, we're all riding 20 to 25 miles per hour through the woods here. It's really hard to, like, I'm just saying, it's really hard to, oh, there's another corner I blew there. Yeah, there was no sign on that corner. Like, that wasn't entirely my fault. Like, because of the dust, if you didn't know that corner was coming up, that was a really hard one to foresee. But yeah, I'm used to, like, seeing, like, oh, this guy's got a green dot. Oh, he's in my class. Or he doesn't have a green dot. Not in my class. I can either try to pass him or just say, hey, I'm not in your class. But a little bit more difficult to do that in this series. I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing it out. Yeah, so I'm really trying to take these corners with more momentum. Part of me doing that is maybe letting off the throttle a little earlier than I'm used to, though. So this suspension on the bike is set up for my son still, which I think it's stock suspension. Yeah, it definitely is stock suspension. So it's like for a 150-pound rider, and I'm like, I'm between 170 and 175. And I tell you what, it was definitely a lot harsher than, it wasn't bottoming out or anything like that, but it was, Yeah, I heard these couple 4-strokes behind me. I just wanted to let them by. I knew they weren't in my class and they had already caught me. It's the last race of their season here, and I know there's going to be people fighting for like points positions and trying to win championships, and I just didn't want to get in anybody's way. So if I heard somebody behind me, I just would let them by because I knew they had caught me already. But yeah, the suspension was definitely a little harsh that I'm used to. Alright, so up here we got this split that normally the path goes to the right, but everybody's taking to the left, and I'll pause it right here. So the red line is what everybody's taking, but when you take that, going right across, right at your neck level, is a thorny branch. And I'm talking like those 1.5-inch thorns. Watch it here. You could barely see it. Went right above the camera. But like, I'm gonna get the throat slit on that. Yeah, so I felt like that got snagged on my helmet strap a couple laps. I stopped taking it after lap 2, but like I really felt like if somebody got caught with that thorn in the right position, they were gonna get like their throat really injured very badly. Anyway, I got lucky though. I didn't get scratched or anything like that. But it definitely comes and gets you by surprise. Like once you see it, there's no way you can react fast enough and change your lineup. All right, we're coming up to another hard easy split here. We got to hit this thing with momentum. I would say the dirt was a little bit built up on the right side of that rock, so that you did have a little bit of a ramp, so that you didn't have to necessarily lift the front wheel or wheelie the front wheel up to hit that obstacle. It didn't make it easy, but it made it doable for me. That guy flagging was a hero, I'll have to say that. He's out there all day just flagging, keeping riders safe, so I really appreciate him. So on one of these right-handers coming up, I think I'd take a dive, and it's just I'm not turning soon enough. Can't remember which turn it is. Yeah, it's going to be up here in a little while. Another little rocky section here. It's a little bit hard to see the rocks, but it's just uphill and rocky. I will have to say riding this 2-stroke through the woods was fun. No doubt about it. No engine braking. Don't have to worry about that. You just be on or off the throttle as many times as you want. It's just fun to rev it. With my 4-stroke, you definitely have to be cognizant of the engine braking. Yeah, I think it's this corner right here that I wrecked. This right-hander right here. Yeah, so if you rewind it there, you'll see my entry was just too deep, and I didn't start turning till like the corner started instead of before the corner, which got me too high up on that berm. And then when I started turning, the bike just washed out. Unfortunately, I think 4 people passed me there. But that's just kind of a rookie mistake that I shouldn't have made. Kind of fun to open it up here, but I started braking too late. So I told a couple of my friends that I was coming up. I don't know if this is the super sketchy section, but I'll point it out to you when it comes. Oh, this is the super sketchy section. Okay, yeah, it goes downhill here and it's very rocky, but these rocks just are like 3 to 4 inches pointing out of the dirt. If you have momentum through that kind of rock garden, it's fine. But if you try to slow down, it's not fine. So yeah, I told a couple of my friends that I was coming to race this race on this weekend, and they were like, "Oh, good luck, Chris, good luck, have fun." And I come and go to scoring and pay and sign up for my class, and I see somebody, oh, look at this. I was not looking far enough up the trail. And I realized halfway up that hill that I was taking one of the hard lines, which if you saw my intro, you saw that it was a really hard line. And oh my God, it's just a stupid mistake of me not looking far enough up the trail. And then suddenly realizing that it didn't look familiar and that I was going the wrong way. I will tell you, if you watch any of my other videos, I am not this bad on the clutch on my other bike. It's just completely due to the engagement point being different. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I'm at scoring, and I come out of the scoring trailer, and I see this guy standing there kind of like turned around, and I didn't think anything of it. And I went back to my bike, put my numbers on, and I was like, what was that guy doing there? So I went back, and I was like, that guy looks like my friend Wyatt. I was like, Wyatt, what are you doing here? And he started laughing. So he and his friend Caspar came up from Houston. And what they were going to do is enter my class. Oh yeah, this section was tricky with all the roots and rocks. And they disguised their bikes as much as they could, wore different outfits that they normally wear, and they were going to park on either side of me on the start line and like say good luck to each other when the race was starting and see if I even noticed them. But like their whole plan got ruined by me seeing them at the scoring trailer. But it was fun. Yeah, we all had a good laugh about that. I'm really trying not to brake that hard in this course, but there were some corners where I was going way too fast and had to get on pretty hard on both brakes. That corner was not one of them. I should not have braked that hard on that corner. It's really hard with all the shadows in the woods to see how rocky it is in some sections, but I think you can get an idea of it from just looking at the
front wheel and the handlebars. But it's only a few sections. Like the rest of it's like smooth dirt or like loamy black dirt. Now I don't know why I was being so hesitant here. On the last lap I popped it in the third and just went up to like 35-40 miles per hour down that hill, but I guess just being so tired from having my bike falling over, having to pick it up, and kind of the adrenaline of the start of the race wearing off, I just was hesitant about charging down that hill. Oh, missed that inside line there. Man, guys out here were so nice. I tell you what, I let quite a few people by, and about half of them said thank you or thank you very much. And everybody I met in the parking lot, super nice, told us where to go, what time our race was starting, all like the details that we need to know. But yeah, it was just a really enjoyable experience meeting the people of this organization and kind of seeing the racing community up here in North Texas. Now I sent it down over that downhill in practice. I don't know why I saw that guy roll it, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll roll it too. I'm not sure what happened with this bike, why it would have stalled like in that section. He was moving pretty fast. So you can see from my shadow that I'm standing up here, I stood a lot more in this race than I normally do. I totally would have taken that log had there not been a tree right there. So if I had gone left in that little opening right there, that would have taken me to another of the hard lines, which was basically almost straight down a hill. And back in 2023, I wrecked on a downhill, like going into a creek bed, just like that, and I actually broke a bone in my shoulder blade. So I was very hesitant about doing that. I had I know I could have done it. Let's just say that. I wasn't hesitant about my abilities. I was just that little creeping thought in your head, like, well, what happens if I crash? And I'm not in my hometown, you know, like, anyway, all the stuff that would have had to happen for me to get home goes through your mind at that point. All right, one of the times up this little hill, I rammed my knee into this left side. Yeah, right there. I think you heard that on the camera, but I'm glad I was wearing a knee brace because I felt it, but definitely my whole leg was protected. If I hadn't been wearing a knee brace, my leg probably would have gotten ripped off or kneecap or something. Yeah, so that was kind of an aha moment when that guy passed me. I was like, why am I going so slow out here in this open field section? So when he passed me, I kicked it up into third or fourth and just started following him. But I think it just goes to show you, like, when you lose a toe, like I have here, it's kind of easy to get lulled to sleep and just start cruising around the course. So that was one full lap. We just passed the starting line, and about in a half a lap here, we're gonna go through scoring. You can see that bike just going crazy from the acceleration bumps, and here's some braking bumps. I really got to get better at shifting this bike because it requires a lot more shifting than my 4-stroke, and I'm just not used to shifting that much, to be honest. So what'll end up happening is I'll end up leaving it in a gear too long, and then I'll get to the corner and be like, oh, well, shoot, I don't need to shift now because I'm about to start slowing down. But yeah, I really do need to get used to shifting more on this bike. I don't ride it very often. This is the second time I've ridden it. It's my son's bike. He just graduated from an 85 to a full-size bike. I would have brought my 250F, but I'm having clutch issues, so that was sand. I would have lost the front end. It's been frustrating. Yeah, I felt the front tire start to wash out there, and I guess because it's loamy dirt in that corner, it held up, but if it was sandy at all, it would have definitely lost the front end. One thing about this course, though, there's no constant on it. You're always changing elevation, going to different dirt conditions, from hard pack to loamy whoops, from like more hero dirt conditions to rocky. Like, it's just a lot of different types of riding here, and it was really fun. So you saw me go around the jump that time. I think at this point in the race, I would pretty much assumed I was in last place in my class, and I actually wasn't. I was actually second to last. But I knew I wasn't going to be fighting for the podium, and I'm still trying hard here. Like, I'm trying to go fast, but I'm not going to do some of the more difficult features. Like, I'm having a lot of fun racing this course right now, and I definitely want to finish in one piece. I've kind of proven that I can do almost all the difficult features except for 2 of them, and I just made up my mind that I'm going to maximize my fun here, but still come home in one piece. And anyway, that's the way I finished this race, and I'm glad I made that choice. So for those who race TCCRA, normally you want to come down to Central Texas. We have 2 series down in Central Texas. Oh, this is me fiddling with my stupid hydration device that I couldn't get out. Normally I have it wired into the helmet, but I lost an O-ring right before the race and had to switch to the non-helmet integrated configuration. But yeah, if you guys race TCCRA and want to come down to Central Texas, we have 2 series. One is Torx, which has been around for 20 years, and it's like a lot more single track racing. I would say the tracks are probably 80% single track, and I don't know what I'm doing now. Oh, I'm waiting for somebody to come around me. And now I'm fiddling with my hydration device again, trying to put it up so it doesn't get caught in the wheel. Alright, back to racing. Yeah, so Torx is probably like 80% single track, 20% open fields for passing and stuff. And then we have another series which just started last year, and that's TX2. Oh, so Torx, to wrap up that's like single track racing and 70-minute races, and it's timed. It's not like this series where you do a number of laps, so it's the checker comes out at 70 minutes, and whoever does the most number of laps or finishes ahead wins. And then TX2 is a different style track. Now TX2 just started last year, and it's more, I would say, like wider tracks, because they race quads and side-by-sides on Saturday and bikes, actually different weekends. So they'll have back-to-back weekends, quads and side-by-sides on one weekend, and then dirt bikes on the next weekend. And so they'll do, just like this series, they'll do practice on Saturdays and races on Sundays. But it's a 2-moto format, so 2 30-minute motos, which is kind of fun because you get everybody bunched back up and you have another start. Oh my god. I don't know what that was. This is the same like thing that happened to me in turn 1 of the race, where I just didn't want to lean the bike at a high speed, I guess.
I mean, I guess I was just going so fast that I was scared to turn.
Now here goes to myself, like, let me prove that I can do this. And so that 2-moto format of TX2s...
That was much harder than practice.
Yeah, it started getting rutted out pretty bad there. But that 2-moto format of TX2 is kind of fun. You have a 30-minute, 45-minute break in between the motos, and then you bunch back up, have another start, and you go racing again for 30 minutes. For 35 minutes for the A and B class. And so I think that's a lot of fun. It's wider tracks, so passing is like pretty plenty. Like, you don't really have to wait or get stuck behind people to pass. Now Torx does racing on Saturday and Sunday, so they do like open and 250 classes on Saturdays and then age group classes on Sundays. So anyway, if you race primarily in North Texas and you want to come down and race in Central Texas, we got those 2 series, and they're lots of fun. Now you can see the second time I'm coming through here, I'm doing a lot better anticipating those turns. I'm not blowing them like every single turn almost. So that was pretty reassuring there, that I know I can at least ride the dirt bike capable when I have the track slightly memorized. At this point, I'd rather like let somebody go and try to chase them or stay with them than try to hold them up. confident going through these rock gardens though. Like, we have a place where we ride in Central Texas called Tour, which is Central Texas Off-Road, and it's pretty cheap to ride there. Yearly memberships are like between $200 or $300 a year, and it's got rocks like this. So I'm pretty comfortable like keeping my momentum and just standing up on the pegs and riding this. You can see I closed the gap to this guy a little bit going through that rock section. I mean, you just gotta get used to the fact that your front wheel is gonna deflect, and try to minimize that as much as you can, but it's going to happen. Had a nice couple turns there where I carried some good momentum through those turns. It's good to see. This was that tricky thing where you just got to carry a little bit more momentum. I think I let that guy by at one point. That guy was coming through. I wonder if he's in one of the open classes that starts in the front row. So I was having fun chasing that other guy. Now he got a gap on me because I had to slow down to let that guy through. So let's see if we can catch back up to him. I kind of botched that. I think I caught a pretty good flow here though. I mean, I'm not going super fast, but I'm also not braking too much for the corners either. Got a good kind of momentum going. was the end of the 3rd mile there. 3rd mile is just really rocky.
I swear to God, somebody's gonna die on that one.
Yeah, that was the little...
It's so easy to take, but then at the last second, you see the huge thorns about to rip your neck open.
Alright. Enough of that. If you don't want to get hit in the neck with the thorns, don't take that line. I guess that's the moral of the story. So we're coming up onto that rock. That's the hard easy split. It would have been left right here. I thought about taking it, but better judgment decided against it. I think I could have handled it no problem. I did it once in practice and once at the first lap. It's just that, like I said before, at this point in the race, I don't want to take too many chances. Just ride it out, have fun, and work on getting faster. So I'll probably skip around now that we're in the 2nd lap, and I'll pick it back up when some interesting things happen. Nothing really interesting happened the rest of the race. It was just me riding around, mostly by myself. Some fast guys came through and passed me, let them by graciously, and just rode it out to the finish line, as you see right here. It was a great first race in this series. Really enjoyed it. We'll be back. Stay tuned for the wrap-up.
Really enjoyed my first TCCRA race. Woo, these guys are fast. That was tough. I mean, some of the sections were really tough. Some of the blue lines were really tough. I took a couple of the first lap, and then after that, like when you're in the back, it's like, I don't want to get hurt. Got to go to work on Monday, so. But anyway, getting better, and I'm enjoying it. I'll be back up next season for maybe 1 or 2, but it's a really great organization, and I thank you for everybody in scoring and at the gate for helping me out. All right, until next time, bye.